Alrighty. Try to finish a boring feature in 30 minutes. So boring. Alright, am I live yet? Am I live yet? Alrighty, so doing a quick co-working stream. What I'm doing right now is implementing a feature in a JavaScript project that is super boring. And I've told myself if I can finish this in 30 minutes, then I can eat a lot of bacon. And so I'm preheating the oven right now in anticipation of my victory. And let's see. Let me switch to display chat. Let me update my live stream channel. Oops. Setting goal. Setting goal on live stream, JavaScript. Try to finish a boring feature so I can have bacon breakfast for dinner. If we can get this boring task out of the way, then I'll have made some progress. So, what's the boring task? The boring task is doing something called display mirroring. I guess it's not that boring, but I'm finding it particularly uninteresting compared to the giant pile of stuff that I need to get out of the way. So let me set up this camera here so people can see what I'm trying to do. Let's see. Alright, so this is my PC on the right side that's running the server. I don't know if anyone can see it. So on the right, let me refresh this. On the left side, there's a bunch of particles that are being shipped across to the right side. This is the mirror display. So I'm creating what's called a display list of all the various visual objects here and transporting it over there. There is a problem, though, in that what I'm not doing is sending the setup of the particles over. So this is actually a different resolution on the left than it is on the right side, and I want to make that automatic adjusting, which means I need to send the viewport data over at the same time, as long as any camera related setup. So theoretically, that should be fairly easy because I have systems that I've made that is supposed to make that easy. I've been working on the documentation here for this module. So we have something called display list render and display list capture. And I just noticed a bug in this, or an error. And this returns a display list object based on out of render. There's only one. There is only one. Because X render goes the visuals from path structure render is creates new visuals. Alright, so let me start this timer up. Boom! 30 minutes to bacon. Oven's preheating. Alright, the stakes have never been higher. Steak might be a good idea too, actually, now that I think about it. I digress. I am wearing my lucky 3 Wolf Moon t-shirt. I forgot to wear it ironically this morning, so I've been wearing it all day, and people haven't said anything. Maybe they don't recognize it. So what am I supposed to do? I said that there's a new display list structure, and I'm passing on viewport and WorldCam, and these viewport properties are render width, render height, world units. Let's see if we can just get those over. Alright, so where the heck is that? And how shall I ship it? So what initiates it? I suppose we want to be able to capture if it's changed or not. The easy thing to do, though, might be to... it just occurred to me that I should split this module into two. One called display capture, one called display render. Anyway, I'll do that later. Anyway, in capture, I guess what we could do is we could just add a check. Let me just shove it in there right now. And I can figure out how to elegantly do it later. So what I'm thinking of doing is just grabbing those data structures and stuffing them into the display list object, which is returned out of the capture call. So what do I have up here? This is capturing all the visuals. And we want to pass along the rend viewport properties. Heck. Capture viewport properties and add to display list. So where are the viewport properties? As far as I recall, that's a renderer module thing. And I believe there's a viewport object. So if I call for VP is equal to xRenderer, is it called viewport? Pretty sure it is. It is viewport. And oops, I don't have an xRenderer in here. That's odd. xRenderer. Why is this complaining? What's this lint error? VP is already defined. Oh. Well, that's convenient. So we want, now that we have VP, we can pull out render width is equal to VP. I don't even remember what the viewport structure does. Viewport, what do we have here? This is probably a method. What is this called? I wish that I had. This is what I miss about Visual Studio, its ability to just pull out lists of stuff. Actually, I guess I can run it over here on this side. Let me try this. Let me go over to. Let me pull up another instance of this. Can't write particles, but I can run a server. Oh, this will probably interrupt particles. Actually, oh, that's interesting. So here on the right side, since I'm running two render sources, it's actually flipping back and forth really fast on the right side. But as soon as I stop this, it will go away. So what I want to do here is just I have a debug routine called inspect mod. Or where there, and I think I could just like, it will just tell me what all the, or it should. Oh wait, this is actually an object. What I wanted, I should maybe write, I don't think inspect object will work on this because I don't actually have this in object. Or a watched key, I don't have a, I should rewrite that at some point. I guess we'll just do this the hard way. Viewport GL size, this sets viewport size world of viewports. There is resize code. Alright, so what I want to do here. Let me describe what I want to do. I want to pull the current render width, render height out of viewport. And I think probably I need to look at maybe the screen module and see how I'm initializing renderer to begin with. So initialize in the default layout, in the app layout. This module is supposed to, it generates a bunch of programmatic CSS and HTML that I know is never going to change since it's created dynamically. So it's not possible to screw it up by editing the HTML or CSS file. This makes it more stable. It was a problem because every time we made a new application, it would screw things up. So render initialize is where we want to look. Where was render? There it is. And initialize, what it did was it called viewport initialize renderer. So I'm just kind of backtracing. Initialize renderer. And I want to see what this render change is. And then there's a viewport size world to viewport. And there's viewport initialize cameras. And then there's viewport. There's background cam, world cam. It's weird. World cam, screen cam. Those are all the cameras. We have 4 different cameras really. We're not pulling the mode out of it though. And you might need to also this can run in either 2D or 3D mode. Right now most of our applications are running in 2D. But if I stop this, that flickering should go away. We should resume. That's pretty cool, actually. So we're 9 minutes in. Am I going to get my bacon in 19 minutes? Let's see. So boring. My God. Let's see. So, alright, so now I just wrote down some of these calls. Let me review viewports and find the initialize renderer call. And it's a configure. That's weird. And what does it actually do? A bunch of processing because WebGL set size, which is a WebGL renderer. Because WebGL set size, I think there's a routine that will return it. There's a few console debugging methods that we shouldn't use. There's also, let's see, initialize cameras. I'm pretty sure that renderer will return the GL. I'm sure there's a, nope, maybe not. Return. Viewport, does this actually create the viewport WebGL? I'm sure there's something that returns a viewport. Viewport. How do I get the GL renderer out of it? Auto resize should maybe resize Windows. Actually, I guess I am calling the debug thing. Who's calling this? It's only one match of it. I guess my screen manager must be doing it. In fact, I see this. That's how it's getting the viewport WebGL. Let's grab that. WebGL is equal to viewport VP WebGL. Once I have that, I should be able to pull it out of. Surprised they're not doing that because of a size thing. There's the WebGL instance. It's a property, I think. 3JS WebGL. Oops. WebGL renderer. There's a sketch size. If watch GL's test. Where's my watch? Let me forget my watch syntax. Debug watch. This is the syntax for that. Watch GL test. Period wait. Wait 1000 milliseconds. That one's all log render width. What I'm doing is I just want to see the value of what GL size is. I assume it's some sort of vector. And heck, I guess I could just look at the 3JS documentation and see. It returns a, what does it return? Yep, set size, where's get size? Returns an object containing the width and height of the render's output canvas. I don't know what the properties are. I guess I could assume they're dot width and dot height, but who knows? Alright, so this is being called in capture. So I should see it over on this side. Unless it crashes. And it does. Why is it crashing? Am I have any lint errors? VP get size is not a function. Okay. Because I should be getting GL. Oops. GL's get size. And it's still crashing. GL's get size is still not a function. That should be inside GL. I'm using an older version of 3JS, so maybe that's an issue. Hold on a second. Why is this not even... Let me wrap this up in here. So after a second, I should see something happen. Alright, so it's weird. So it is getting VP WebGL is returning render passes. Nope, that's not right. I think it's crapping right up here. What are we seeing? We are seeing a WebGL renderer. And I What's meaning get size? There's a set size. There is no get size. Why is that? Is this something they added to a more recent version of 3JS? Because I am using an older one. I don't think I'm going to get my bacon tonight. Let me look at some of the other code that I wrote. So here I'm getting, where I'm getting the size here is by looking at the div. Geo size. Yeah, and I'm pulling it directly out of the DOM element. Alright. Let's see. Var width equals I'm just worried about scope for a bit. Var width is equal gl dot DOM element width var gl height is equal gl DOM element height console info gl height width gl height. Let's see if that works. A little irritating. Oops. And I was dumping all this crap out from where display list line 218, which is here. If debug watch. Oops. I guess I only have it once. Alright, so I'm seeing that here's the width and the height. So at least that's good. I guess I could even do it like this. That should happen right away now. But this watch thing, this is like a special trigger class that allows me to write conditionals. With this type of syntax. So since this runs every frame, I don't want to print out a bazillion elements. But what it'll do is it'll initialize a watch variable called glSetup. And the first time it runs, it will execute this statement. And then the rest of the time, it will not. So we have this. We actually want to pile this on the display list next. So that could actually work. The other thing that I wanted to do was if I look at my design display list, I wanted to get world units too. So where do I get world units from? That would be in a viewport, I think. World units. Essentially rendering, if this isn't WebGL, if not world units, world up world units, return this world units. World aspect. These are used for calculating the cameras. World units is equal to VP world units, I guess. Okay, let's see what this does. So yeah, the world, that's correct. So I should be able to do this. Display playlist dot what did I call it? I called it viewport. viewport equals, and we have render width, render height, and world units. And this should be that. And this should be this. And this last one should be this. What can I select? What's happening here? What's this error? Width. Display of viewport is equal to render width, render height, world units. World units isn't defined. Oh wait. What is this? That's because of this? Nope. Is it because I'm not quoting these? I think JS Hint is aggressive about this. No, it's still fucking up. What's going on? Let's talk about this. What am I missing here? Yo, dumb element height. Why am I getting this error? Oh, is it just searching for it? That's what it is. Alright. So now we have a new display list viewport thing that's happening. And what we want to do is intercept this. Okay, so the bug output. Turn the display list. So make sure that in render we are at least aware that this is here. Okay, so in display list length. Oh wait, display? This is getting past. I'm not pulling up. Wait a moment. Render display list is not. Pushing. Double check something here. Capture, or broadcast rather. Default particles broadcast. It's getting the display list. Display list is being returned. Display list. Oh, okay. Here's the issue. Let's call this list. Oops. Do it that way. Let me grab all of these. Oh, great. That's terrible. Can I do a selection and then do that? No, that won't work. I'll do this manually. So, my display list data structure needs to be updated. So I'm going to make this, instead of something called lists, I'm going to have something called visuals. And that means I need to rewrite this code. So instead of display lists, this should be visuals. Oops, I don't want to do that. Visuals. And, oh, I'm already using that. Great. Easily just call it list for now. Or vlist. So everywhere I see display list, that should be vlist. And then at the end of this loop, display list visuals is equal to vlist. Now it's complaining about display list is not defined. That's because we haven't. Our display list is equal to an empty object. The data package. List. This one I could probably rename. Vlist. So we go. Let's rename this to vlist. Unhandled. Understand there is a refactoring plugin. Maybe I should look into that. Okay, let's see if this still runs. It probably doesn't. Nope. Crapping out and display list push is not a function. List push. One minute. It should be vlist push. Still crapping out. What is it? Okay, that seems to be correct. Now we need to update the capture or render code. So display list is now more of a composite thing. You can see there's a visuals array. We should call it display data. Let's do that. Display data. Display data. Display list. That's nice. Wait. And now we have our var display data. And we should be allocating it like this. Our display list is equal to I wanted this to be done. Display data visuals or nothing. Okay, we've restored that function. Alright, we'll have to display data. We'll optimize this later. So display list, blah, blah, blah. And then over display list. I want to call this display capture. Or display data, rather. Display data. There's only a few places where I used it. Here. Display data. Still running. Let's update our design documentates. Here on the right side. Display data object. Display. Type display data object has several properties that contain. So like referring to display data. I guess I should renew this module at some point. This should be called display data now. Display data. Data. There's new visuals and display data visuals. Sure, there is reinitialize and scanning for references display list. This is good enough for now. I should rename the module too. I'll do that a second later. Display data list. Under that's the name of the module. This one. The contents of each display. The contents of each display data property is listed below. Now let's change the message names. This should be now called display data. This should also be called display data. Display data, display data. What? Oh, we're just shipping the entire thing across now. Those are default particles. I think something might break it. Display list capture. If watch. Do I have watch defined for these? No, I don't. Let's grab an X watch. I don't have it in here. Display list. X watch or watch, let's call it. And where is that display? If debug, oops, if debug watch. Where's the broadcast? Tons of broadcast display data. If watch. MPDL. see. We are getting visuals. That looks correct. I probably need to update display client to now get the correct message, which is that. Let's call it unique display data. This, that, syntax. Okay, so we're back in that place. So now that I've done all this, I actually want to commit. Commit this. What do we have? This is an interim particle system. I want to discard that. This is do the last one. A bunch of merges. Oops. Default particles display server. Commit. DS display list. Display list message is now display data, and additional properties are defined in the display data package, such for different visuals, camera, WebGL renderer. Renderer resolution. Is that all it does? Default particles, I don't think will commit right now. Let's make sure. So that's right. That's strange. I thought there were more changes than this. Did I not save it? It's a display list that I made all the changes. So it'll be here. This is where the new stuff is. Looks good. It's probably already happy dick. Hang on, that's okay. Commit. Close. All right. So just made a backup of that work. I still haven't actually shipped made it do anything yet though. But now I can process the receiving of this viewport data. So I would say in my capture or my render code, which is this. Oh, did I put this in the wrong place? No, that's in capture. Where's render? Renders at the top. Make these, give these bigger headers. Capture a display data package from the current renderer setup. Walk all render passes, and also send any changes to renderer setup, camera setup. A work in progress. API call. Capture. Render. Different lengths. What is that? That's weird. This is column 80. Alright, so we got this API called render, an API called capture. Module support functions. Okay, so what was I doing? Now that I am capturing them, now I want to be able to render them. Handle visuals. Handle renderer changes. These pre-allocations shouldn't be in here. Move outside. Function. So they are allocated once. Not per call. Just once, not per function. Not sure why I'm doing that right now. Anyway, the renderer changes. We're getting display data, and if display data I guess I should theoretically just do this. And equals display data. No, you know what? I'm going to assume that that's okay. Display data, what do they call it? A viewport. Console info dot display viewport. Display data viewport. I just want to see if this is working. So here, refreshing on the screen, what do we see? On the renderer side of things, it did get a render. It did receive the objects, which is great. So now we just need to initialize it. But let me just finish shipping the data over. So in capture, we also want to get camera data. Camera data is changed. Camera properties and add to display list. Display data, I should say. And this temporary stuff, watch. Cam setup once. I'm gonna have a code that actually checks for when the camera changes. But this might work for now. We'll have to add checks for camera changes instead of just hard coding when this happens. Oops, not camera changes, my viewport. Blah blah. I'm just doing this one. So if we have, I just want to send the data once just to confirm that this works. Now I need to get the cameras. And where do I get those out of? Viewport, background cam, display data. What do they call it again? Cameras? World cam? World cam. World cam. I'm wondering if I should be inconsistent with my use of upper and lower case. Okay. I'm using, it's a little mumbling too. This is a 1. So display data world cam, I am saying that there's a 3D property. And that should be coming out of VP world cam. And there should be a 2D camera. There should be a different viewport structure for that. Let's see, I'm saying there's a cam 2D and I'll just grab it this way. This should be 3D viewport cam 3D and VP cam 2D world. I'm gonna call this camera setup. Camera. The world is VP. Oh, this will be interesting. I'll have to construct that later. Um, 2D. I also need the background cameras, so I want the BG, VP, cam BG, and I also want the UI camera, screen, VP, cam screen. Fix that. Okay, and then if VP cam 3D is equal to VP cam world, now do we write like this? No, I'll just do this the long form. then display data cameras dot world equals I should just make this mode, and we'll assume it's 3D. Should be consistent about my use. Screen mode D mode, let's call it. If the D mode, we'll assume that D mode is 2D. Yeah, but if it's 3D, then display data cameras D mode should be 2D. Or 3D, rather. That's displayed data. So if we save this, I go back here, and now I'm in capture. Render is at the top. We also want to do this check. If display data, what do they call this in cameras? Console info dot camera data display data cameras. So that's what we would use to reinitialize the renderer or the camera setup. And we got those. And just for fun, capture, let's modify the watch so it happens a little bit later. Where did I put it? Cam setup 1. I guess I'll do this. So period wait. Let's have this wait for 1 second, and let's have the cam setup wait for 1.5 seconds. Okay, so we got these viewports. Okay, so that seems to be working. Let's see what objects we're getting. We're getting, what are we getting here? Okay, this is this camera structure. Needs to be recreated. The whole thing came over though. That's nice. So recreating the cameras. Will be actually a little bit involved, it looks like. But the first thing to do would just be to do the viewport and just have that be size. It's probably going to take more than 4 minutes. So I am going to call this the work for the day. Let me amend my last commit. I haven't pushed this yet, so this will be fine. Let's change history, why don't we? Okay, so my work is saved. Let me go to my this is done by adding a expanding display list to become display data with visuals. What do they call it? Viewport. And cameras. Tomorrow I have to actually write the code that reinitializes these data structures in the renderer. And then just to see if that fixes the particles particle position translation issues. Yeah. I'm just thinking that there might be an issue with UI overlay, because we might want to assume a fixed resolution on the right side. Because here's something, this is what I'm talking about. So over here, this renderer is using a it's a 727 by 729 or something like that WebGL canvas. But the logical units, it's plus and minus 6. So the coordinates for each of these moving dots is, it's going to be from minus 6 to plus 6. However, the render on the right side, this is set up as 720 by 720, but the world units are also set as 1 world unit per pixels. So 6 pixels is going to be just this little tiny spot in the middle there. And in fact, I think that's what's going on with those dead pixels there. It looks like there might even be a really small sprite being drawn. Oops, I just broke it. Zoom. Yeah, I have my auto reset. So there's scaling issues and problems with that that I will need to fix. Whoa. There's my 4-minute timer. My oven should be preheated. I'm going to make a few adjustments to my my documentation, which is here. Refresh that. Playback display list, display data captured, display data, X render is a valid render, display list visuals, viewport, that's changed to be cameras. What else? Render width, world height, they've also changed all of that. So this needs to be updated so it says cameras. And down here in the cameras data structure, we have 3D, 2D, D mode. This is a display mode. 3D or 2D. And then we have, this is what cameras to cameras, 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 cameras. And oops, I'm not displaying this. I'm updating my documentation here. Cameras, cameras, cameras. What was the other thing I changed? Screen. That's the additional cameras. Cameras, BG, background camera, data. That's there's also camera screen. This is called the screen UI element camera. That's not really being used now, but these correspond to different render passes. Let's see, this is world mode. Camera is either 2D or KD camera. Alright, so let me bring this reference up to date. And I think I'm done for the day. Surprisingly, I'm awake again. Maybe the coffee kicked in. I was expecting to be really sleepy. Or the thought of bacon like elevated me. So I actually got more time. I thought it would maybe last for another 15 minutes, but it lasted for another hour or so. Not a huge number of billable hours a day. I got a lot of other stuff. All right, so I guess that's it for now. Tomorrow I will pick up on rendering, getting the actual render changes to come over, and then work on getting the additional graphic types showing, like the line drawing and stuff. That might be a little bit tricky. Once that's in, then we have a working playback data set, and I can start working on the file system organization for capturing and replaying that data, which is another ball of worms. So I'll worry about that tomorrow. I'm going to have a low-carb breakfast dinner now. So thanks for watching. I'll put this in the virtual co-working archives. So if you need someone talking in the background while you're working, doesn't feel like someone else is working, you can go check those archives out. So I'll see you tomorrow with another morning stream.